Okay, good morning, students. Uh, so we shall have a recap of yesterday's class. So in the yesterday's class, we just went through about this meter bridge or a slide bridge wire. So as you know that it is called as meter bridge or slide wire bridge because it consists of a 1 meter scale. Okay, so the bridge consists of a 1 meter scale, and we are going to slide the jockey on the wire. Okay, so hence it is also called as meter bridge or slide wire bridge. So the application of this meter bridge is nothing but it is used to find the resistance of an unknown resistor. Okay, and this meter bridge works on the principle of Wheatstone network. So as you know that the experimental setup consists of two L-shaped metal strips, and you have one more metal strip which is used to produce the left gap and right gap. So in the left gap, you are going to connect a resistance box, that is R, and S is the unknown resistors which you are going to place it there at the right gap. So next, you know that from the terminal A, it has been connected to positive terminal of the battery. From terminal C, it has been connected to plug key. From plug key to negative terminal of the battery. As you know that this meter bridge consists of a 1 meter scale. So on that meter scale, the wire has been mounted. Okay, so by making use of the jockey, you are going to slide. Okay, from the terminal B, a galvanometer is connected. So when you slide the jockey on the wire, at some point what happens, the galvanometer reads a zero deflection. Okay, so we say that when the galvanometer shows zero deflection, we say that the bridge is said to be balanced. Okay, so if you consider, let us say that at point J, the galvanometer shows reads zero deflection. So the length, since the length of the scale is nothing but 1 meter, that is nothing but 100 centimeter. If I consider the length between A and J as L, obviously the distance between, or the length between J and C should be 100 minus L. Okay, so let us consider the resistance. Okay, the resistance as P between A and J, and the resistance as Q between J and C. Okay, if that is the case, you can see that P is nothing but equal to rho into L, we can write. Similarly, Q is nothing but equal to rho into 100 minus L, right? So next, as we know that by making use of the principle of balanced Wheatstone bridge, P by Q is equal to R by S. So since we know the value of, we need to find the value of S, we are going to take the S on the left hand side. So S is equal to Q by P into R. So next, substituting the value of Q and P, so S comes out to be as rho into 100 minus L divided by rho into L into R. So getting rho and rho get cancelled out. Left out thing is S is equal to 100 minus L divided by L into R. Okay. So L value is nothing but where the galvanometer reads zero deflection. So that length we are going to substitute in the value of L in the place of L. Okay. So R is nothing but the resistance which we are going to remove in the resistance box, that we are going to note down there. So by noting these values, you can easily find the resistance of an unknown resistor which is connected in the right gap of the meter bridge. Okay, so this is how you are going to find the resistance of an unknown resistor by making use of meter bridge or slide wire bridge. Okay, so next we just went through about this potentiometer also. As I said, what is potentiometer? A potentiometer is a device which is used to measure the unknown EMF or the potential difference accurately. As I said, to measure the potential difference or potential drop, okay, we are going to make use of the device called as voltmeter. Okay, so when I say that, see, to measure the voltage drop, we are going to make use of this voltmeter and potentiometer. Okay, when we say that which is better compared to both, obviously I said in the last class itself, we say that the potentiometer gives the accurate value. Why is that? So because the potentiometer doesn't draws any current from the circuit. Okay, so whatever the reading it shows, that is the accurate value, that is a potential drop, it gives the accurate value. Similarly, when you take a voltmeter, so voltmeter also shows the, I mean, it also measures the potential drop or potential difference, but the only thing is, while showing the reading, it draws the current from the circuit. Hence, we say that potentiometer, since it doesn't draw any current from the circuit, the reading which is shown by the potentiometer is more accurate compared to the value which is given by voltmeter, we say. Okay. And the application, coming to the application of this potentiometer, so the potentiometer is used to measure the EMF, potential difference, and internal resistance of the cell. So these are the three applications I have said, right? So next, coming to the construction, as you can see here, A and B are the terminal. Okay, so between A and B you have a scale. Over that scale there is a wire mounted. Okay, and that wire is made up of constant or manganese, and that scale what we have taken, it is a 1 meter scale there. Okay, so next, from terminal A, as you know that it has been connected to positive terminal of the cell. From next, negative terminal to ammeter, ammeter to rheostat. Again from terminal B to plucky to upper end of the rheostat. From terminal A, it has been connected to voltmeter, and another end of the voltmeter, that is the negative terminal of the voltmeter, it has been connected to jockey. Okay, so what is the principle of this potentiometer? Principle of this potentiometer says that potentiometer works on the principle that when a constant current flows through the wire of uniform cross-sectional area, the potential drop across any length is directly proportional to that length. Okay, so as I have said in the last class itself, so as you move jockey away from the terminal A, so what happens? The potential drop keeps on increasing. So as you go away from the terminal A, what happens? The length is also increasing, right? So since the length is increasing, obviously the potential drop is also increasing. Okay, because the current is flowing from terminal A to terminal B here. Okay, so as you move this jockey away from terminal A, even the length increases, so the potential drop also increases. So hence it is said that V is directly proportional to I. V is nothing but potential drop, and I is nothing but the current. Okay, so sorry, V is directly proportional to L. So potential drop is directly proportional to the length of the wire. Okay, so V is directly proportional to L. So let us come to the mathematics, how we are going to prove that. So as you know that the potential drop is denoted by the equation by making use of the Ohm's law. So that is nothing but equal to V is equal to I into R. So as we know that, what is the value of R? R is equal to rho L by A, which we have already derived. So now, as you know that I is a constant, right? We said that starting itself, when a constant current flows through the circuit, okay, the potential drop is directly proportional to the length we have set. So current is a constant here. So next is nothing but, what we have done is we have just taken I rho by A as a constant. Okay, so I rho by A is replaced by a single letter, single letter, that is nothing but phi. Okay, so I is the current, rho is nothing but the resistivity, and A is the area of cross section. All these three has been replaced by another letter that is called as phi. What is that? Phi is nothing but it is a potential drop per unit length of the potentiometer wire. Okay, see, phi is nothing but the potential drop per unit length of the wire, and hence by replacing that I rho by A, so the equation get reduces to V is equal to rho into, V is equal to phi into L. Okay, so what is that phi? Phi is nothing but a constant, right? If you remove that constant, V will be directly proportional to L. That is nothing but the potential drop is directly proportional to the length of the wire. So this is the principle of the potentiometer. Okay, I think in the last class I just said to you people to go through once about this potentiometer, right? So if you have gone through, in case if you have any doubts, please let me know. So let me clear, then we will move to the next. Any doubts? Please do ask. Any doubts? Or shall we move to the next topic? Okay, fine. See you. We'll move to the next, that is comparison of EMF of two cells using potentiometer. Okay, the aim of this uh, is nothing but by making use of potentiometer, we are going to compare the EMF of two cells. Okay, so see here, I'll just go through the circuit once. Okay, so from terminal A, you can see here we have taken the three wires. Okay, one has been joined to positive terminal of the battery. Okay, just I'll highlight it. That is this one. This is a battery. Okay, from terminal A, it has been connected to battery. Again, from terminal A, it has been connected to first cell. Okay, we call that one as Leclanche cell, we call. Next, from the same terminal, second cell we have taken, that is nothing but Daniell cell, we call. Okay, so this Leclanche cell, Daniell cell, all I'm going to explain once the practical is started. Okay, once the college starts, I'll just explain in the laboratory. Since you have this experiment in your second PUC practical examination, I'm going to explain in detail. Okay, don't worry about that. Just now, just go through. Okay, just listen. So E1 is nothing but the Leclanche cell, and E2 is nothing but the Daniell cell. So uh, now we need to compare the EMF of the cells between these two, that is Leclanche cell and Daniell cell. So we should compare the EMF between first cell and the second cell. Okay, E1 is nothing but the EMF of the first cell, and E2 is nothing but the EMF of the second cell. And in this here, and the negative terminal of the Leclanche cell and the negative terminal of the Daniell cell has been connected to commutator key, we call. Okay, it's a two-way key, we call. Two-way key. Okay, so two-way key, as you know that the negative terminal of the cell has been connected to first terminal, and the negative terminal of the second cell has been connected to second terminal. So the third terminal is been connected to galvanometer. Again, from galvanometer, another end of the galvanometer has connected to jockey. Okay, so next is nothing but here, coming to this, the negative terminal of the battery has been connected to ammeter. Again, from ammeter to, it has been connected to rheostat. So next, from terminal B, it has been connected to plug key, from plug key to upper terminal of the rheostat. Okay, so this is the construction. Okay, so why is the ammeter used? Ammeter is used to adjust the current. Okay, just to know for what value we have set the current in the circuit. And the rheostat is nothing but it is used to increase or decrease the current in the circuit. Okay, so galvanometer, obviously it shows the deflection. Okay, and it shows the what is once the galvanometer reads zero deflection, we say that the bridge is said to be balanced, right? So that is the thing there. So next, coming to this, how we are going to compare the EMF, how we are going to find the ratio first of all. Okay, so see here, first of all, in order to compare the ratios between this E1 and E2, that is the first cell and the second cell, first we need to note down the balancing length, then we will compare that. Okay, so see here, coming to that, I'll just explain the theory part once so that it will be easy for you. A constant current is maintained in the potentiometer wire AB by means of a battery of EMF E through a key K and rheostat. Let E1 and E2 be the EMFs of the two primary cells which are to be compared. The positive terminals of these cells are connected to the NA of the potentiometer. The negative terminal of the cells are connected to terminals 1 and 2 of a two-way key. The common terminal 3 of the two-way key is connected to the jockey J through a galvanometer G. As the plug is inserted between 1 and 3, the cell E1 gets introduced in the circuit. The jockey is moved along the wire AB till the galvanometer reads zero deflection or no deflection. The balancing length AJ1 is nothing but equal to L1. Then E1 is nothing but equal to phi L1. Okay, so see here, what we are going to do here is, first of all, I said that the negative terminal of the cell E1 and E2 has been connected to two-way key, I said, right? So there's a two-way key, and the negative terminal of the first cell has been connected to 1, and the negative terminal of the second cell has been connected to second, and the third terminal has been connected to galvanometer here. So now what we are going to do is, first we are going to close the key between the 1 and 3. Okay, so 3 and 2 is a open circuit. Now 1 and 3 is a closed circuit. That means that this cell which has been taken as a second cell, that is the Daniell cell, it will be a open circuit, so no current flows through this part. Okay, only the this cell will be activated. Okay, E1 will be activated. So now once I close the key between 1 and 3, so this will be activated, that is the E1, that is the Leclanche cell. So next what we are going to do is, we are going to take a jockey and we are going to slide the jockey on the wire. So just we are going to note down the length where the galvanometer reads zero deflection. Okay, so that is nothing but denoted by AJ1. You can see here the length, that is nothing but you can see it is denoted by AJ1. So let AJ1 gives the zero deflection, where the galvanometer reads zero deflection. That whichever the length, either it can be 60 or 70, anything, so that you are going to write down, that is considered as L1. So that is nothing but we are going to write that one as E1 is equal to 5 into L1. Okay, E1 is equal to 5 into L1 by making use of this. Okay, since we are written here V is equal to 5 into L, by making use of that equation itself, we are going to write E into 5 into L. Okay, so that means that since we are applying this to first cell, so we are going to write that one as E1 is equal to 5 into L1. Okay, so next here what we are going to do is, next we are going to close the key between 3 and 2. Okay, so I'm going to close the key between 3 and 2, and 1 and 3 is a open circuit now. Okay, so now E1 will be a open circuit and E2 will be a closed circuit. So E2 gets activated now. Okay, so only the current flows through the E2 now. So next what I'm going to do, again I'm going to take a jockey and I'm going to slide. So let us say that at J2, at this point, okay, you can see the figure in J2, right? So at this point, let us say that the galvanometer reads zero deflection. So where the galvanometer reads zero deflection, that reading I am going to note down. Okay, and that can be expressed as here AJ2 is equal to L2, or we can write that one as E2 is equal to 5L2. So next what you are going to do, divide uh, divide this by this. Okay, divide this by this. When you divide, 5 and 5 get cancelled out. Only thing is E1 divided by E2 is equal to L1 divided by L2. So this is how we are going to compare the EMF of two cells by making use of the device potentiometer. Okay, so just go through once. So in case if you have any doubts, please let me know. Just go through once, just go through the circuit first, then go through the explanation part, then mathematical steps. Any case, I mean, in case any doubts, let me know. I'll clear your doubts. Okay, just go through for a few minutes. Okay, any doubts, students? Any doubts you can ask. Yes. Reply, have you understood? Shall we move to the next topic? Okay, fine. So here we will move to the next topic. That is nothing but determination of finding the internal resistance. Determination of internal resistance of a cell using potentiometer. So as I said, even this is one of the application of potentiometer. So you can find the internal resistance of a cell. What is internal resistance of a cell? It is the resistance offered by the cell. Okay. The resistance offered by the cell is called as the internal resistance of the cell. Okay. So see here, just I'll come to construction of the construction part. Then I'll come to the theory part. Okay. So see here, coming to the construction part, we have two terminals A and B. So as you know that between A and B there is a scale, 1 meter scale, and on that wire, I mean on that scale, the wire has been mounted. Okay. So next from terminal A we have taken three wires. One has been gone to cell E1. Okay. Next it has been gone to battery E. Next it has been gone to rheostat R. Okay. From the negative terminal of the cell and the another terminal of the rheostat has been connected to plug key K1. From that plug key K1 and the negative terminal of the cell has been connected to galvanometer, and from that galvanometer it has been connected to jockey. Okay. So next from the cell E1, where the negative terminal of the cell has been connected to ammeter. Again from ammeter it has been connected to a rheostat. Okay. Again from terminal B it has been connected to plug key, from plug key to a rheostat, that is the upper terminal of the rheostat. Okay. So see here, always this arrow mark to the rheostat denotes the upper terminal. That means you need to connect the wire to the upper terminal of the rheostat. That is the meaning of that arrow mark there. Okay. So now see here, how we are going to find the internal resistance of the cell. Before that, just I'll read out the theory part, then I'll come to the explanation. Okay. The positive terminal of the cell of EMF E, whose internal resistance R is to be measured, is connected to the end A of the potentiometer wire, and its negative terminal to a galvanometer and jockey J. A resistance box R is connected across the cell through a key K1. The key K is closed, keeping K1 open. Move the jockey along AB till it balances the EMF of the cell. Let L1 be the balancing length of the wire. Next, the EMF of the cell will be E is equal to phi into L1. Now key K1 is closed and suitable resistance R is taken in the resistance box. The balancing length L1 when the galvanometer reads 0 deflection is noted. That is nothing but equal to V is equal to phi into L2. Equation 2. Okay, fine. See, listen here. Okay. See here. First of all, coming. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. So see here. E is nothing but the cell we have taken. Okay. So I think while just explaining the construction part, I said reverse. I think. Okay. I said E as the battery and E1 as the cell. Okay. Sorry for that. E1 is the battery and E is the cell. Okay. So and we need to find the internal resistance of the cell. Okay. The cell which whose EMF is given as E. Okay. So now what we have done is, what we are going to first do is we are going to close the uh, plug key K. Okay. K is closed now. See here. uh, just a minute. Okay. K is closed. You have two plug keys here. One is K1 and one is K. Okay. So as of now what we are doing is K is closed and K1 is open. So what happens when K1 is open? No current flows through this part. Okay. So see here, no current flows through this part. Only current flows through this part here. No current will be flowing through this resistor and this resistance box and plug key K1. So what happens when the K1 is open and K is closed? The same thing, we are going to take a jockey and we are going to slide. Okay, so what happens at some point, the you are going to get the balancing length. That means that the galvanometer reads zero deflection. You are going to note down that reading where the galvanometer reads zero deflection. So that thing you are going to note down. So that equation is given as E is equal to phi into L1. Okay. Why is that we are written E is equal to phi into L1? Because no current is flowing through this part here. Okay. So hence we are going to write it, express it that one as the E is equal to phi into L1. So next what we are going to do is K1 is closed now. Okay. So this key is also closed. Initially it was open, now it is closed. So once it is closed, what happens? The current also flows through this circuit here, that is through the resistance box and the plug key. So what happens when you just again when you slide the jockey on the wire? So let us say that at point J2 you are going to get the balancing length. So that reading you are going to note down, and that you are going to express that one as by equation 2, that is V is equal to phi into L2. Okay, why is that in equation 1 we are written E is equal to phi into L1 and in equation 2 we are written V is equal to phi into L2? Because in equation 1, as we said, that no current flows through this circuit here, this part. Okay, so when no current is drawn from that circuit, I mean that part of the circuit, we are going to express that one as the EMF. So in the next case what happens, the K1 is also closed. So what happens, the current also flows through this circuit here. So it is drawing the current. So hence we are going to represent that one by V. V is nothing but the terminal potential difference. So now what you are going to do is divide equation 1 by 2. So if you divide equation 1 by 2, you are going to get as E divided by V is equal to L1 divided by L2. Okay, E divided by V is equal to L1 divided by L2. That is taken as equation 3. So next, as we know that the internal resistance of the cell, we have derived the equation for this. The internal resistance of the cell is given by small r is equal to E by V minus 1 into R. So now using equation 3, what we are going to do is let us substitute the values of R value as L1 divided by L2 minus 1 into R. Okay, if you simplify that, you are going to get the answer as small r is equal to L1 minus L2 divided by L2 into R. Okay, so this is the uh, what do you call, the how we are going to calculate the internal resistance of a cell by making use of the potentiometer. What is that small r denotes? Small r denotes the internal resistance. Okay, so just what we have done is we have just substitute the value of equation 3 here. What is that equation 3? E by V is taken as L1 divided by L2, right? That is what we are written here. So in the place of E by V, we are written, we need to take L1 divided by L2. Since it is, you have minus 1 there in this equation. So this equation can be written as R is equal to E minus V divided by V into R. The same thing can be written as in terms of mathematics, E divided by V minus 1 into R. One and the same thing. So that is what we are written. In the place of E minus V, what we are taken? We are written, I mean we are taken the values of L1 minus, sorry, L1 divided by L2 minus 1. So the same thing can be written as R is equal to L1 minus L2 divided by L2, that is into R. Okay, so this is the expression for internal resistance. Okay, so the last topic of this chapter is nothing but it is regarding the conductance. What is conductance? Conductance is nothing but the, we are going to define that one as the, it is equal to the inverse of the resistance. Conductance and resistance are inversely proportional. Okay, and the conductance is given by G. G is equal to 1 by rho. R is nothing but the resistance. Okay, so G is equal to 1 by R, and the SI unit of conductance is nothing but per ohm or Siemens we call. Next, electrical conductivity or conductivity we call. Okay, electrical conductivity of a substance is defined as the, is equal to the inverse of resistivity. Conductivity is inversely proportional to resistivity. and that conductivity is denoted by the letter rho, that is nothing but equal to 1 by resistivity. Okay, sorry, conductivity is nothing but denoted by sigma. Okay, sigma is equal to 1 divided by rho. Rho is nothing but the resistivity and sigma is nothing but the conductivity, and the SI unit of conductivity comes out to be as per ohm per meter or Siemens per meter. Okay, so I think with this thing we have completed the chapter current electricity. Okay, that is the theory part we have completed. So do one thing, just go through the this determination of internal resistance of a cell using potentiometer once and the conductance once. So if you are done with that, okay, the chapter is completed. Just go through for a few minutes. Okay, so in case if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Just go through. So any doubts, students? Please do ask in case if you have any doubts. Okay, fine. Is it fine, students? Have you understood what we have discussed today? Reply. Give a reply whether you have understood or if you're not understood, so that I can repeat the concept once. How about others? Yes, Rujan. Okay, fine. Yes, Harshita. Okay. Okay, see you. I think we are done with theory part. Okay. So coming to this potentiometer. Okay. Coming to this potentiometer. See, in your examination, the only thing what they are going to ask based upon this potentiometer is only they are going to ask what is the principle of potentiometer? It will be for 2 marks. Okay. Next, they are going to ask define potentiometer. Okay, you need to write it is a device which is used to measure EMF and the potential difference accurately. Okay, so this thing they are going to ask. Then they are going to ask what is the uses of potentiometer, applications of potentiometer. Okay, once again I'll repeat. They are going to ask what is potentiometer, or else they are going to ask what is the principle of potentiometer. Next, what are the applications of potentiometer? Except this, they don't ask anything. Okay, don't worry about this construction of this potentiometer, and this about this comparison of EMF of two cells using potentiometer and determination of internal resistance of a cell using potentiometer. They won't ask in the examination. Don't worry about that. Okay, only you need to remind only the principle of the potentiometer and the application of the potentiometer. Okay, apart from that, no need to study anything. Just I have explained because it is in the syllabus. Okay, but from the exam point of view, they don't ask. Okay, so coming to the marks, what are the questions? Okay, expected questions from this chapter they are going to ask. Okay, I think we are left out with 2 minutes. Okay, let me see how much I can complete. Okay, see, first of all, they are going to ask for 1 marks. They may ask, is current electricity? I mean, electric current is a scalar quantity. Okay, you need to explain that why is it scalar quantity, even though it is a vector quantity. Why we are going to consider that one as the scalar quantity? You need to answer for 1 mark. Next, they may ask current density. Okay, current density 1 mark or 2 mark. If they ask for 1 mark, definition. If they ask for 2 marks, definition with equation J is equal to I by A. Okay, so next, Ohm's law, it's a sure question. It is for 2 marks, the statement and the equation. Okay, or else if it is for 1 mark, only the definition, I mean only the statement. Okay, so next, resistance, maybe they are going to ask for 1 marks. Okay, so next, factors affecting the resistance of a metallic conductor. I think they have not asked this one. Okay, but you should be knowing for solving the numericals and all. Okay, next, the relation between this J, sigma and E. There is nothing but this relation J is equal to sigma into E. So this will be asked for 3 marks. It is an important relation. J is equal to sigma into E. Okay, next, drift velocity. Drift velocity, they are going to ask the definition, or if it is for 1 marks, write the definition. If it is for 2 marks, definition with equation. Okay, equation is nothing but this see this one, Vd is equal to E into tau divided by M. Vd is equal to E into E tau divided by M. Okay, and in some case they have asked for this relaxation time or mean free time for 1 mark. Okay, what is the relaxation time or mean free time? They're going to ask. You need to write that. What do you mean by that? Okay, okay, fine. We have left out with few seconds. I'll conclude the class. Okay, so the rest of the part will be discussed in the next class. Okay, students, thank you.